This is a walkthrough video of setting up the village management system on your local machine. The system requirements for running the software are fairly modest. A modern CPU, 8 gigabytes of RAM and 20 gigabytes of storage space should be plenty to get you started. In addition, you will need the following software before you can set up the village management system. Git allows you to download the code for the village management system from GitHub. Node.js is required to build and run the code on your local machine. Docker is required to install AppWrite, which will serve as the backend for your database and cloud functions and cloud storage options. You can run the village management system on any operating system, but I'll be showing you how to set it up on Windows. Download and run Git from the official Git site for your specific operating system. During installation, you can keep all the default settings suggested by the installation steps. Download and install Node.js. Again, you can keep the default settings during the installation process. Lastly, you'll need to download and install Docker. After the initial setup process, you will need to restart your PC. After the restart, Docker will continue installing. It will automatically enable the Windows subsystem for Linux on your Windows computer if it hasn't already been enabled. This window indicates that WSL has been installed and initialized properly. You can skip the Docker login step. We need to install AppWrite, which will serve as the backend for our village app. Copy and paste the Docker command into the terminal and press enter. Once AppWrite is installed, open up a web browser and go to http://localhost and press enter. Create an account to log into the app. Right console by clicking on sign up button. Once the project has been initialized, open a PowerShell terminal or command prompt window with administrative privileges. Copy and paste the command to install Quasar. If you encounter an error on Windows, you may have to run the set execution policy remote sign command to allow the npm command to run. Copy and paste the command to install AppWrite CLI tool. Next, we need to clone the code for the village management system to a local library. Copy and paste the git clone command and press enter. After cloning the repo, cd into the village management directory. Run the npm install command to install all the dependencies for the project. If necessary, run the npm audit fix command to automatically fix any vulnerabilities in the downloaded code. Next, we need to set up the environment variables for our app to connect to the database. Copy the .env.example file to .env. Browse to where the project files were downloaded from GitHub. Open the newly created .env file. In a text editor, change byte AppWrite project ID value to the project ID you created earlier in the AppWrite console. Change the endpoint variable to http://localhost/v1. Then we need to create an API key to allow the app to access the database. In AppWrite console, go to create API key. Select all for the scopes, then give your API key a name and click create. Copy the API key and paste it for the value of API key in the .env file. Back in AppWrite console, let's create a database and get the database ID that we will need later. Click on database in the navigation column. Then click on create database. Type in the database name. Click on database ID and type in the database ID of your choosing. Click on create to create the database. In the terminal, change the directory to server. This is where the startup scripts and the cloud functions for the app are kept. Create a .env file for this directory. Type in the environment variables, this time without the white prefix. Save and close the file. Change the directory back to the root level of the project type. npm run setup :appwrite to initialize the database. This will take several minutes to complete. After initializing the database, type in npm run seed : roles and press enter. This will populate the roles table in the database with default user roles for the app. Change the directory back to server. Type in AppWrite login -- endpoint space http://localhost/v1. Type in the email address and the password you created during the setup of AppWrite right after you ran the Docker command to install it. You should see a success message. Type app push functions Select all the functions presented by pressing the space bar. Press Enter to select the default option, Yes, for the creation and activation of the deployment of the functions. We need to enter the environment variables in App Write console for the cloud functions to work properly. In the App Write console, click on Settings for the project, scroll down to Global Variables and click on the Editor button. You can copy and paste the contents of the .env file located in the server directory here. However, you have to change endpoint to Docker as shown here. Click Save. Click on Functions from the navigation menu on the left. For each function, click on the name and then click on Redeploy for the environmental settings to take effect. In the terminal, change the directory back to the project root. Type quasar dev-mssr and press Enter. Press Allow for any permission request that might pop up. This will start the development server and open up the app site. In case it doesn't load automatically, open a web browser and go to http://localhost:9100. Very first time the app opens, it will ask you to create a user. This user will have full administrative privileges. Type in your name, email address, and pick a password. Click on Create Admin Account. After initial account creation, you will be taken to the welcome screen. Click on Load Sample Data to populate the database with sample data. This will take some time. After it finishes, the main app dashboard will be loaded. Your app is now ready to use. To wipe the database and start fresh, we need to go back to the App Write console. In the navigation column on the left, click on Auth, click on Teams, then click on the Create Team button. Type in Village Administrators for the team name. For the team ID, type in village_administrators. The team ID must match this exactly. Click Create. In the Village Administrators team settings, click on Members, then click on Create Membership. Type in the email address for the app administrator that you created earlier. Click Create. Return to the browser where the app is running. You may have to log back in. To start over with an empty database, click on Start Fresh, Wipe All Data. Type Delete Everything in all capital letters and click Wipe All Data. This will wipe the database and bring you back to the welcome screen. If you select the Wipe All Data option, you will need to rerun the npm run setup :appright from the terminal to reinitialize the database. You do not need to rerun the seed roles command. Click on the Load Sample Data button to reload the sample database. You now have a running village management system on your local computer. If you have any questions or issues, please post them in the GitHub issues section for the project. Thank you.